Well fellas, the time has come. We are officially less than a week away from Halo Judgment Day.
Come with me if you want to live.
Yes, that's right. In 6 days time, as of this video going live, the next Halo game, the worst kept secret for Halo 1 Remake, is going to be getting announced at the Halo World Championships. And today, I want to do my final video before that announcement and talk about some of the leaks about it that happened recently, talk about my thoughts going into it, what I think we're going to see, and my overall feelings on this strange period of Halo that we're in right now, this kind of transitory period between the Infinite era and the Halo Studios era, because this is a pretty big time for Halo, and I have a lot of thoughts. So recently there have been quite a few leaks about this remake. Again, take these with a grain of salt because none of them are confirmed yet. We'll know for sure next week. And most of the leaks are things that we kind of already knew, so more confirmation that the game at some point is coming to PS5, that the game will have modern movement mechanics of some kind, which I am not a massive fan of, but I guess I'll have to see how it plays. But we did get one leak that I'm actually quite excited about that others seem kind of apprehensive about, and that's the fact that the remake is going to be using both the Unreal Engine and also the Blam engine. So not the Slipspace engine, Blam, specifically Halo Reach's Blam engine. Now, a lot of people saw this and thought like, why are they not just using Unreal? Why are they going back to Blam again already? And I think what they're doing with this is the same thing that the studio Virtuos, who made the Oblivion remake, who actually it turns out are also working on the Halo 1 remake according to leaks. It's what they did with the Oblivion remake. So Oblivion runs in both the Creation engine and also Unreal 5, and what I think is done is Unreal is used for the visuals and the graphics and the lighting and all that stuff, but the core feel of the game is still dictated by that original engine. Now, one of the big complaints and worries that we've all had about this remake in Unreal 5 is that it just wouldn't feel like Halo, because obviously there's loads of Halo games that have been made in other engines, and they might look cool, but a lot of the time they don't really have that kind of, you know, that indescribable Halo feel. Well, they just don't really seem to have that, and among many of us, that was one of my fears going into this game. Like, how are they going to recreate that Halo feel in Unreal? Well, this leak actually gave me a lot of hope, because what I imagine they're going to be doing is just what they did for the Oblivion remake. So having the graphics and everything driven by Unreal, and then the physics, the kind of game feel, and the AI and everything else driven by Blam. Again, not Slipspace, Blam. Halo Reach Blam, which is a very weird choice, I gotta say, but I think that will help a ton to make the game feel more like Halo. That is such a subjective term, and it's really hard to pin down precisely what quantifies that feeling, but I think that'll really help that feeling feel present. We haven't had any leaks yet about any kind of actual content in the game. It's just been broad features and mechanics and stuff like that. So we don't know anything about the actual substance of the game. All we know so far is pretty much what I said, but again, 6 days away, we'll know a lot more for sure. Okay, so we did also get some other news of the day that wasn't too great, and it's kind of cryptic, and we're not going to know too much about it for a while, but I need to touch on it because it's going to be very important. So Glenn Israel, who is a kind of Halo OG at this point, he's been working on Halo as a concept artist since ODST, and he's been with Halo the entire way through. I believe that besides Sketch, he was the last remaining ex-Bungie person at 343. He may have been at 343 originally. Either way, he's been there for a long time. And he left recently, like last week, and he put out a pretty, like, bad-looking, but also rather cryptic statement on LinkedIn about not compromising your artistic integrity, about the industry being hard and all that stuff. You've probably seen this already, so I'm not going to read it off, but basically what it implies is that he left 343, or Halo Studios, sorry, because of some kind of major disagreement about the way that his work is done, which is artistic in nature. And given how heavy-handed Microsoft are at the moment with AI in particular, a lot of people, myself included, kind of inferred from this that he'd been told to use AI and he'd refused, and so he left. That's not confirmed by any means, but that is one of my fears with this game, I'm going to be honest. If you don't know anything about Microsoft right now, they have invested so much money into AI, like so much money that they can't afford for any of it to fail. And so they're basically forcing employees to use AI in every division wherever they can. And this to me kind of reads to me like Microsoft have been like, yeah, you need to use AI. And Glenn was like, no, I'm an artist. Art requires a soul, and AI doesn't have a soul, thus it's not art, and I won't use it. That's just my inference. Don't put too much stock in that, but I truly truly hope that this remake and Halo 7 and anything Halo steers so clear of anything AI. This is the most normal opinion ever, but I detest AI art with a burning passion. Like I just said, to me, art requires a soul to be created, right? A human soul has to basically put itself into art to create art, and video games are an art form. If you create video games, you are creating art. And this kind of AI intersection with video game creation at the moment is such a textbook example of where the corporate side of gaming interferes with the artistic side of gaming. And it's never good when that happens, and AI is like one of the worst examples of that. So I'm just crossing my fingers and hoping that this remake has nothing to do with AI in it. Funnily though, on Steam, if your game has AI generated stuff in it, you have to actually declare it on Steam or the game gets delisted. So I guess when the game goes live on Steam, we'll see if it has AI art in it or not. Hopefully not. If you couldn't tell, by the way, this video is completely unscripted. I posted 2 very long scripted videos this week, and I kind of want a break from writing scripts, so I thought it'd be kind of cool and chill just to chat to a camera, because I've not done that for a little bit, and I always kind of enjoy doing it. Anyway, moving on. Okay, little tangent real quick, don't worry, it's not a sponsor. I recently got nominated for my first award for Halo and YouTube, which is pretty cool. I got nominated for the Legacy Halo Content Creator Award in the Halo Community Commendations, which is a true honor, to be honest with you, because I've never been nominated for anything through this, which is really cool. And the best thing is, if you guys want to vote for me, you can do. The link is down below in the description. Granted, I'm up against some GOATs and great friends of mine, but if you do like my content and you want to vote, then the link is down below. Huge shout out to Ranger Kelly and also Halo Respawn for doing these awards. It's a very cool thing. The voting closes tonight as of posting this video, so if you're interested, down below, would appreciate it. So let's talk about the actual reveal itself now. It's going to be happening early in the afternoon on Friday, so you're going to want to make sure that you're tuned into the Halo stream so you don't miss it. Of course, I will be making so many videos on Friday and also Saturday and Sunday about the stuff that gets revealed. Thankfully, huge thank you to Halo Studios for this. They're actually setting me up backstage so I can make videos at the event. So hopefully my video output will be pretty normal. It won't be as if I'm at an event, even though I am. So I'm going to be making videos backstage about everything, talking about what we see, breaking it down, the usual stuff that you'd expect from me at a game reveal. Granted, we've only ever had one major game reveal in like the last 10 years, but you know, what you would expect from me in that scenario, I'll be making that content. As for the reveal itself, how I'm feeling right now, I'm not going to say I'm excited, and that sounds really doomerish. I don't want to sound like a doomer. I don't feel doomerish. But I'm not excited, I'm more just, like, curious and a bit apprehensive, because if it is the Halo 1 remake, which, I mean, again, worst kept secret, right? If it is, that's a big deal, because twofold. Firstly, Halo 1 is a game that I hold immensely dear, and I'm sure 99.999% of you guys watching right now also hold very dear, for obvious reasons, right? I'm assuming it's the game that got most of us into the franchise. That game has literally directed the trajectory of my life since 2001, or 2002. That sounds ridiculous, but it's genuinely not. Like, my entire career, everything I owe to that game, because it started me on this journey, right? And even beyond that, I love the game like, I love the game like a family member. That thing is special to me. And then also, it's a big deal for me because I've actually wanted a proper Halo 1 remake for a long time. I like most of what they've done with the Resident Evil remakes, for example. I love the Silent Hill 2 remake. Dead Space remake was really, really good. So modern remakes can be really good for not only revitalizing a franchise, but also breathing new life into old games in ways that the developers never could originally. So this game is something that I've wanted for a while. But the problem is, like, and I've probably got myself to blame partly for this, but I've wanted the game in a specific way, which I think we all do with something that we enjoy, right? Like, we have a specific vision of what we want that game to be up there. And I'm like, yeah, curious as to how they're going to approach it and do it, and apprehensive about any changes they might try and make, any alterations they might try and make, or hopefully not make to the story. That's one of my big fears. I'm worried that they'll mess with the story. I don't think they will do, personally, but, you know, that fear's always going to be there, especially when you hold a game as dear as Halo 1. I think after the last however many years, 12, 13 years of Halo, I'm just kind of apprehensive about everything now. Like, I'm curious but apprehensive, because I've been excited a ton over the whole 343 tenure, and a lot of the time that excitement has not ended up panning out in the long term. Even though in the short term I was really hyped, it just never seems to work out. And Halo Studios are a different studio to 343, regardless of what anybody wants to say. They aren't 343. They are a massively different makeup of devs, different leaders. A lot of the people that were responsible for the stupid missteps of like Halo 5 and Halo 4 and Infinite aren't at the studio anymore, right? So Halo Studios are very different to 343, but at the same time, they aren't entirely different. It's like this kind of middle ground between not a new studio and a brand new studio. They're kind of half and half, right? So we truly don't know if the old philosophies are still going to be lingering around with the development, or if this is going to be essentially like a brand new developer taking over Halo. We really don't know yet, and I've been a massive proponent for a while now for just holding off judgment of Halo Studios until they release their own proper game, which is obviously what this is going to be. Like for Infinite's updates, for example, I've not been super pro or super against Halo Studios based on what they have or haven't done in these updates, because they're just updates for a game that already existed. Like, I only really care about what they do with a brand new game. And so this is their first proper test for me. And I truly don't know how it's going to go, to be honest with you. My brain is like half and half, because like half of it is like the bloomer, hopeful, like, oh dude, please, let's just have Halo be back kind of mindset. And the other half is like the devil on my shoulder. It's like, no, come back down to reality. Look at reality. And I don't know what to think. I've never felt more conflicted before, because with Infinite's launch, and Infinite's announcement rather, that game, like, I went into that assuming that 343 were going to learn all the mistakes from Halo 4 and Halo 5 and act on those mistakes and improve the game as a result. And they did in some areas for sure, but there were other areas where they just fell down even harder. Whereas with this, I just don't really have, like, any historical data to go off, you know? Like, I don't have a track record. They don't have a track record. So, we'll see. I am just so curious at this point, to be honest with you. I also can't believe we're actually getting a new Halo game announced next week. I know that sounds ridiculous because that's the whole point of this video, but I just... we've been in this, like, post-Infinite limbo now for so long. And it's kind of... The last 4 years for me have just been, like... not a mess, but just they've kind of blended into one. Like, I think about what I've done in those 4 years and like what's happened with Halo in those 4 years, and it just seems like nothing's happened. It just seems like one big amorphous blob of time that doesn't really have any like properties attached. That's the most ridiculous schizophrenic way to describe it. But I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about, because we all expected the world with Infinite, and obviously it went the complete opposite direction for the most part, and we've kind of just been sat in limbo since. And so now that we're actually coming out of that limbo, it's like, it just doesn't feel real. And not in a sense like I can't believe it, or I'm so excited that it's not real, or I hate the thought of this and it doesn't seem real. It's just like, I just can't really wrap my head around the fact that we're 6 days away from this. It's just... it's strange. It's really, really weird. I guess I should probably talk about what I think we're going to see as well. Obviously, the main thing I would assume is going to be the Halo 1 remake. And for a while, I've been saying that I think we'll see a Halo 7 teaser as well. And I'm not putting any stock in that, but I do think that they might drop some hints about Halo 7. Because at the end of the day, right, so say the remake comes out next year, 26, right? That's 5 years after Infinite came out. If we're still doing this 6-year dev cycle thing, which granted there's a lot more nuance with it this time because the studio imploded like 3 times in the last like few years, but if we are still doing that 6-year dev cycle thing, then that means that theoretically Halo 7 should be coming out the year after the Halo 1 remake. So if they were to start dropping a few hints here and there, especially if they kind of go the MCC route and have, like they did with Halo 2 Anniversary, have the remake kind of loosely tie into Halo 7, then it would be a good time to do that. Maybe not now, but either way, I wouldn't be surprised if they do tease something about Halo 7. Nothing major. I'm not expecting like Halo 7 campaign gameplay or anything ridiculous like that, but you know, I think they might drop a little bit here and there, but I think for the most part, what we're going to be seeing is the remake. Because I mean, last year was the most unsubtle confirmation of the remake ever. Like, look guys, I'm moving to Unreal, and look guys, what a surprise, all of the assets that we're showing off are Halo 1 related. What could we be working on? Really didn't require that much kind of reaching in the old mind to assume that they were talking about the Halo 1 remake with that trailer. But yeah, interesting times ahead. I guess final thing would be like my hopes and wants for this game, or for the announcement rather, because I have some things that I really hope they show off. First and foremost, I really hope if they are doing extra content like stuff from First Strike or stuff from The Flood or stuff from Last Voyage of the Infinite Succor or Breaking Quarantine or any of the other litany of Halo 1 adjacent stories, I really hope that next week they not necessarily show that off, but tell us about it, tell us that it's happening, because one of my fears with this announcement is that they go into it and they show off like a Halo 1 remake and it looks pretty authentic, but that's all they show off, and a lot of people kind of leave that announcement like, oh, is that all it is? It's just Halo 1 again. And there's so much more they could do with this game. I mean, I've talked about it to like ridiculous lengths, but there's so much you could do with the Halo 1 remake to just make it the Halo 1 Definitive Edition. And if we leave next weekend with no inclination as to whether that's happening or not, I think people are going to be probably a bit annoyed, because we've already had a Halo 1 remaster, and it was awful, and we don't want that again. But that was just a remaster, and now it's a remake, we're expecting more, you know? And so I think if they don't talk about that, provided of course they are doing it, I mean, there is always a chance they don't do it, which would be not great. I wouldn't be very happy about that, but I hope they talk about it if they are doing it, because that stuff, it should be like the hook. For long-term Halo fans like us, extra content that fleshes out the original game and adds more to it in ways that Bungie never could should be the hook for this game. That is the hook, and that would be such a great thing to talk about and announce at next weekend. And I guess my other main thing is just that it's faithful. I mean, obviously it's a remake, so it's not going to be one-to-one faithful. Like, I don't mind them like changing the geometry and levels and stuff like that, and like changing like rooms and like mixing encounters up and stuff like that. But one of the problems that I do have with that is that for me, Halo 1 is still the most tightly created, perfectly balanced like weapon and enemy sandbox in the campaign, like even more than Halo 2 and Halo 3. I love Halo 2 and Halo 3, as you very well know, but Halo 1 I genuinely think is the highest quality PvE experience game that Bungie made. It's the tightest, most satisfying and fulfilling out of all the combat loops and combat experiences in their games, and my main fear is losing that, because tight is the only way I can describe it. The way that the AI react to you shooting them, the way that they fight, the way that the weapons interact with them, the way that the sandbox works in Halo 1 is just beautiful. It's magical, and I don't want to see that get eroded by changes that didn't need to be made, or things being mixed up and changed for no reason. Like, that's kind of been the mantra of at least 343 over the years, like change for the sake of change, and I really don't want that to intervene in Halo 1, because that was one of the main problems with Halo 1 Anniversary. Even though it was just a remaster, not a remake, like the visual identity of that game just wasn't Halo 1 at all. There were so many unnecessary changes with that game. And granted, it was Saber Interactive, not 343 main developing it, but you know what I mean. And I don't want to see that happen again, because Halo 1, with a fresh coat of graphical paint, with the old like aesthetic and like AI style, could be absolutely amazing. This game, like I've talked about this game for years. This game is like a partially like dream game for me if done right. But to do it right, at least in my head, there's a fine line you got to walk, and straying off that line, I think, can cause a lot of damage. And I do worry that part of the whole modernization thing, like sort of Halo 1 for a modern audience, could walk them off that line and damage it. But it's all just hypotheticals right now. This is the thing. We'll know for sure next Friday, I guess. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Like I said, this video was entirely unscripted. I just wanted to waffle for like 20 minutes to you guys, because I find this quite cathartic sometimes, just talking into a camera about like raw thoughts and stuff, and you guys seem to enjoy it as well. So I guess that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. Of course, I'm going to be at the Halo World Championships in Seattle next weekend. If you're going, please come up and say hi. I want to give you guys handshakes. I want to talk to you guys, meet you guys. That is the best thing about events. Whenever I meet you guys, it's very, very fulfilling, and it reminds me why I do what I do, to be honest with you, without sounding like ridiculously soppy and cringe. You guys know what I mean. I'm sure you know what I mean. So if you're at the event, come say hi. It's going to be an amazing event. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a very... I probably should have talked about this earlier, but like, I have not been Infinite's biggest fan, as you guys know, but HCS ending for Infinite, like, oh man, there's just something really like melancholic about it and sad, because the HCS for Infinite has been where almost every other facet of the game has faltered. HCS has been incredible. The HCS team have nailed HCS, absolutely nailed it throughout the entirety of Infinite, and sending it off just feels so sad. So sad, but it is what it is. So yeah, I guess I will see a ton of you guys next weekend. It's pretty much all I gotta say for today. Leave your thoughts down below in the comments as to what you think we're gonna see, what you want to see, what your hopes and your fears are. Let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, I want to give a huge thank you to all of my amazing patrons for the continued support over there, as per usual. Thank you all so much. And thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all very much for the support over the last 4 years post-Infinite, because it's been a rough time for content, but you guys have held strong, and you have... yeah, I fucking love you guys. You guys are awesome. So yeah, I will see you in my next video, which will be about the next Halo game, which is such a strange and surreal thought. I'll catch you guys next time.